It's time for another reality check. And counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Is everybody ready? Put on your tinfoil hats, press the like and subscribe buttons, tune in, and let's go!
What's going on, guys? Reality check, truth unveiled, back at you with another one. Woo! Boy, this Charlie Kirks situation isn't going away anytime soon, is it? And we should not let it. Okay, we have got to stand up. We've got to stand strong. We have to come out against the lies and the BS. This man was unalived unjustly, and there's so much suspicious behavior. And dude, come on, man. We've got people that I used to respect, like Officer Tatum, for example. I mean, come on, man. Officer Tatum, what are you thinking, brother? How can you sit here and defend the narrative like you are? Dude, you're either complacent here yourself in this situation somehow or another, or you're getting paid off to hold the narrative because you have such a big platform. Okay, but there's no way that you being an ex-police officer and you being as intelligent as you are, that you don't know and can't see the BS behind the narrative, the official, air quotations, narrative that they're throwing down our throats. So today, we're going to hear what Joe Rogan has to say. The title of this video is Joe Rogan Exposes Charlie Kirk's Widow as a Horrible Human Being. And I've got to say, I personally, honestly, never really looked too much into Erica Kirk. I just didn't. She had zero interest to me. I mean, I don't give two craps about her. Generally speaking, I wouldn't have cared about her one direction or the other. I mean, I feel bad for any woman that loses her husband. But before Charlie's passing, I didn't know anything about the woman. I didn't know anything about Charlie's wife. I just followed him. But apparently, from everything that I'm hearing in the background that she comes from, and then going back and catching some old clips that I never saw before until now of her and Charlie together doing interviews, man, she was an interesting character, I'll tell you that much. Man, the one clip that I was watching of her, dude, she overspeaks him, like completely demeaning the man in front of everybody, in front of everyone. And then, like, she ends this, the clip ended with her making this insane statement about how telling the public, you'll find your human. I found mine. What? You'll find your human? You found yours? What are you saying, Erica? Were you implying that you are not human, but you found yourself a human? I mean, what the crap kind of statement is that? I mean, who says this kind of stuff, man? Like, does that make any sense? What are you, what are you, an animal? Are you extraterrestrial? What the hell are you? Like, for real, dude. Like, what the crap? It made no sense. But anyway, hey, let's get into this video, man. Let's see what Joe has to say, and let's see what this video is about. All right, let's check it out.
So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, I him, now me, I him, now me, and then that guy gets arrested for child charges, like what is going on here?
But there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well.
I don't believe.
Yeah, here we go. See, so Charlie come out and made the statement that Epstein was playing a role. Uh-oh. Oh, Charlie, my man. You were gutsy, my brother. You were gutsy. God rest your soul, my brother. Charlie was gutsy, guys. So he comes out, speaks out against, in regards to Epstein and how Epstein was playing a role. And then we know that he, just prior to his unaliving, is that even a freaking word? Unaliving. I mean, this is so ridiculous. We have to use these stupid terms, guys. I mean, he was taken out, man. He was whacked. Okay? He was whacked, man. And I'm not laughing at the situation. I mean, it's a horrible, tragic situation. I'm laughing at the absurdity of what's going on, and the fact that they want us to believe these narratives that we can clearly see is absolute BS, man. So Charlie, just prior to him being taken out, was also speaking out against Israel. Now, here's another, what I'm finding interesting here now is that Charlie was stating how Epstein was playing a role. Well, we know that Ghislaine Maxwell's father was affiliated with Israeli Mossad, and then we know that Charlie was starting to come out against Israel. Why is it that all of this leads back to that country, that little third world country? Well, I wouldn't say it's a third world. I think Israel's probably doing not too bad. It might be like maybe second world or something. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that arena by any means. I'm not an expert in any arena. I'm just a guy flapping my gums here on the freaking podcast. All right. But nevertheless, I've got enough sense to look back and go, oh, something isn't right. I don't have to be an expert to see that something is not right, man. Just, have a little bit of common sense and logic about yourself, man. Do a little bit of math, and the shit don't add up. Bottom line, guys, it just don't add up. And Charlie was coming out against the ones that apparently we're not allowed to speak out against. Ooh. Oh, boy. Oh, Charlie.
This kid right now could possibly be the I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with this.
I know.
None of these things make any sense to me. Like, you're telling me that this kid who's not military trained, this guy, first of all, how did he get to the roof? How come nobody was looking? How come nobody was there's a direct line of sight between where he's sitting and those roofs? You guys didn't check? You don't have a drone? That's insane. So he's on the roof. He jumps from the roof. He jumps.
Yeah, dude. Okay, I agree with Joe that it's kind of insane they didn't have a drone. But okay, even if you justify this situation here and say, well, They weren't expecting something like this to happen, even though they probably should have. But, they wasn't it just wasn't expected. So they wouldn't have even thought to put a drone up there because they would have never imagined such a horrible event taking place. That even if we justify that portion from that aspect, the rest of it still doesn't add up.
Down 14 feet.
Charlie Kirk's death was not random. It was seemingly set up, premeditated. At least according to Joe Rogan, it seems. What began as a tragic story has turned into one of the most confusing and suspicious events of the year, and he is only adding to the voices that are questioning everything, including the actions of Charlie's widow.
Nothing is a coincidence. Hold on to that thought. Did you know that Charlie Kirk's father, Robert W. Kirk, was actually the architect for Trump Towers? Also, did you know that Erica Lane Kirk won Miss Arizona USA in 2012? Don't forget, Donald Trump ran Miss America from 1996 until 2015. Seeing the correlation here? Now, not saying age difference is a big thing, but did you know Erica was 5 years Charlie Sr.? But this is where coincidences aren't coincidences. People, this was so arranged. And there's so much more to Erica Kirk. Kind of like how she was all into basketball, didn't want to be all girly, never liked to dress up, even cut all her hair off, and ended up being Miss USA. How does that happen? How do you go from sports to Miss USA? And then they meet at a Turning Point event in 2018, where she's interviewing for a job for Turning Point.
It started when Rogan discussed the case during his podcast, saying the official story just didn't make sense. He pointed out strange details that had been ignored in mainstream coverage, like the photo of the alleged suspect, a 22-year-old man holding what looked like a scoped hunting rifle. Rogan said the weapon looked far too modern and clean for the situation described.
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old, whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude, do you think he's got the capability to do that?
Yeah, well, listen, there are people that look like that have the capability to do that.
Pretty accurate.
Nope,
No?
not hard. Not hard at all.
Hard.
Let me dispel that.
Okay.
Okay, 200 yards from a prone position with a dead-on rifle. So if you have a dead-on rifle, so you set this rifle, you set your 0 to 200 yards, right? You know how far you're going to is not hard at all.
Yeah, but the problem, okay, and man, look. Maybe somebody can correct me out here, but I shoot rifles myself. I know personally that you have to sight in your scope. You've got to you have to sight that scope in. So for him to make such an accurate shot as an amateur, especially not being any sort of expert, what time did he have to sight in his scope to make that shot? I mean, this had to be planned out way in advance, which means that he would have had to have gotten onto that roof many times before, or at least once before the whole incident, just to get a sight in and where Charlie would be sitting at, just to be able to half behind sight in his scope. I mean, because if you don't get your scope sighted in properly, your shot's going to be off. You're not going to have an accurate shot. Now, I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me here, guys, but I mean, let's keep it real.
A lot?
You don't have to a lot. So I could do it tomorrow.
If you're no, but you are experienced. If it's someone that's never could they do it?
100%. Not
Really?
if they've never they wouldn't know where to look. They'd have a hard time acquiring the like when you look through a scope, like when the reticle is weird. Like it's sometimes
Takes a minute.
You got to know the distance that you have to be from it to really line it up in your sights. But you could get a guy like my friend Andy Stump, who was a sniper in the SEALs. You could get him, and he could show you how to do it in an afternoon, and then you could hit steel at 200 yards every time you pull the trigger.
One day you could learn
Yeah,
that. Wow.
yeah. Not that hard.
Because
Yeah, you could hit steel at 200 yards easily, sure. I agree with that, except for the fact that in order to hit that still spot on, you've got to sight in your scope to that particular rifle. And according to the official narrative, he apparently broke the white rifle down, carried it onto the roof, reassembled it back together, made the shot, and then broke it down again. Dude, the moment that you break it down, generally speaking, you lose sight in your scope. You've got to resight your scope back in. The whole thing still that it does not add up, man. Something just still doesn't add up. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a scope that's pre-sighted that you don't have to sight in. Hey, I mean, it could be, but I've always had to sight in every scope. Now maybe I'm just not a rich man who could afford to buy a $600 scope or more. You know, that would automatically pre-sight itself or something. Hell, I don't know. But I just know that every scope I've personally had, I've had to sight it in on the particular rifle that I was shooting with. So, there you have it.
Feels insane to me. I'm like, seems tough.
It seems tough. We still haven't figured out whether or not the gun that Trump had a sight on it, because we weren't sure if it had a sight on it or if this guy was using iron sights. That was 140 yards. If you shot with iron sights, that's a lot harder, because iron sights is you're lining up. So you have these two things in the back and there's one thing at the front of the barrel, and you got to line those up perfectly, and that's how you stay accurate. That is a lot harder to do.
It's like old have those, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pistols.
Yeah,
like
pistols
you buy a
them.
Glock, that's what it comes with.
Right.
But this kid had a rifle with a scope. Now here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle. So a 30-06, so that's the rifle. 30-06 is like, that looks like a very modern looking stock. I mean, it might not be. It might be just a bad resolution. It might be wood. It's hard to tell. But if you showed me that and you said, hey, this is my cousin's rifle, is this any good? I'd be like, looks like a standard bolt action rifle with like a sophisticated modern scope on it. Sure. Now, apparently, the narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code.
What? Does that even remotely look like a World War I rifle? Guys, I mean, the smoke that they're trying to blow up our rears, man, is just unfreaking canny, dude. It's so insulting. It's so beyond insulting to our intelligence.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait.
Then there was another man, an older one, who started yelling right after the claiming, "I did it," before reportedly taking off his pants.
First of all, there was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombings.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place. And then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview him.
Right. Right.
Right. And because when the internet people.
Well, that's awfully convenient. Yeah. I mean, I mean, I knew he got arrested for those disgusting videos, but nonetheless, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that, well, him being arrested for that, he can't be interviewed. Ain't that some crap? You know, it's because, okay, well, why couldn't the FBI interview him? How come the FBI is not looking into this and the connection here? Because it's clearly, he was clearly placed there as a decoy to distract the authorities while the real shooter got away. Whether it was Tyler Robinson or whoever the crap it was. So, you know, why is Kash Patel not talking about this guy as well?
People start going, how are you at all these different things? Like, what are the odds? Like, if someone ran it through one of the ChatGPT Perplexity things, like, what are the odds that this guy would be at all those different events and be involved? Like, 0.
This is the guy?
Yeah.
I just like that the pants down part is just insane to me. It's like, why is your out, dude?
I did it. Listen, I'm not saying this guy isn't insane. He's clearly insane. Or not. Or he's professionally insane.
Right.
For Rogan, these details didn't just seem odd. They looked like a very convenient series of events that allowed the perpetrators to cover their tracks.
Agreed. And I mean, well, now I'll end the guy's, supposedly on this guy's pants, him taking off his pants, supposedly his pants actually fell off of him. You know, it's claimed that he didn't actually take his pants off, but rather that his pants fell off of him. So that's the official claim or the official narrative on that one.
That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble.
Yo, to disassemble that gun, we're talking about like an expert, 15, 20 minutes minimum. Okay? The average person, 45 minutes to an hour to disassemble that gun. I mean, man, come on.
A rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit.
Not going to fit in a backpack.
And then somehow or another,
not going to fit, exactly. It's not going to fit. It's not gonna, because the barrel's too long. It wouldn't have fit in the backpack.
He connects it once he gets off the roof? What? What's that about?
Is that what they pitched, huh?
Yeah. And then he's supposed to get it in that stupid backpack. It's literally, it makes no sense.
And the elevator music was a nice touch, by the way.
Yeah. So this is just a narrative, right?
Yeah.
We watch a guy jump off the roof, and then we supposedly find this rifle. So if you can have a guy that's in the audience that's yelling, "I him now me, I him now me," and then that guy gets arrested for child charges, like he's like, what is going on here? So and then weird. You find this rifle, and then you say, "Oh, he assembled it and he reassembled it." Like, okay. I wish I was a cop. I'd sit in a room like, this story is horse.
A short clip of Rogan's comments spread across social media instantly.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, and then I hate to pick on Brother Tatum, but come on, Brandon Tatum, dude, you are an ex-police officer. There's no way you don't know better than this shit, man. And you're going to sit here and defend the official narrative as bullshit as it completely is. We can see, everybody with a brain cell can see that it's absolute BS. And you're going to defend that narrative? Like, really?
Elon Musk, who was tagged in the clip, responded online with one of his trademark cryptic posts, "The truth doesn't hide forever." That single sentence blew up the internet. Within hours, people were replaying Rogan's segment frame by frame, trying to connect Musk's reaction to what Rogan might know.
Like, the more they keep looking into it, the more they're like, this doesn't feel like a real... It feels super fabricated.
But here's the thing. Just like I was talking about when people are arguing on social media, it's all part of the plan. If you want things to be...
I wanted it so bad.
If you want people to lose all faith that anyone is going to solve anything, you add a bunch of... If you're going to kill a guy, you add a bunch of other wacky that doesn't make any sense, and you spam it out there at the same time. You leave a gun that didn't do it out in the woods. You do a bunch of like that.
You have an old man put his dick out and yell, I did it, I did it.
Yeah, you get some kid who has a boyfriend who's a furry, and you
boyfriend
you talk
is a
to him on
furry?
Discord.
As the clip went viral, conspiracy theories exploded. Why were two of the biggest public figures, Rogan and Musk, suddenly talking about a case that seemed long closed? Was it a coincidence, or were they sending a message? Then Musk made things even stranger. He liked several posts from commentator Candace Owens, who had previously accused the media of covering up details about Charlie Kirk's death. Suddenly, hashtags about Charlie's widow started trending, and online forums filled up with speculation. The internet decided Musk and Rogan must know something the rest of the world didn't. Even traditional media outlets began mentioning the story, pretending not to give it attention while clearly feeding the fire. Once Rogan's full podcast episode was released, the picture became clearer and darker. Rogan wasn't just questioning small inconsistencies, he openly said that too much doesn't add up. He listed several red flags: the weapon, the odd timeline, the suspect's behavior, and the lack of clear information from investigators. He even joked that if this story were a movie, no one would believe it.
Sickening is definitely the right adjective, I think, to describe how a lot of us are feeling. And all I know how to do is to gather information, to research, and to investigate. And nothing is making sense. Now, it could not be making sense because we've not arrived at the conclusion. The FBI, I will say, has recently come out and said they're looking for another person. Good, because what we have so far obviously cannot be it. I feel, I was insisting that everybody read that book, Chaos, about the Charles Manson murders. And what we learn from that book is that if the government does want to hide something, what they do is they give you so much information that you don't even know what's real. So many different possible ways that things could have gone down, so many different manners, so many people speaking, so many publications publishing. And it's just meant to be chaotic, to drive you crazy and to just go, okay, I'm just going to accept whenever the authority says something and not prod any further. We can't allow that to happen here. I won't allow that to happen here because this something terrible has traumatized the world, okay?
Exactly, and Charlie deserves better than that, man. Charlie was a good dude, period. I don't care what the woke, insane, nutjob left has to say about this. Charlie was a good guy. He was a humble guy. He was a God-fearing guy. He was a loving guy. He was not hateful. He didn't speak hate. He didn't put out hate speech. He was a good guy who gave these people a platform to speak on and to just open up about what they believe and open up with their feelings and whatever. He gave them an opportunity and a platform to speak on. There was nothing hateful about Charlie in any way, shape, form, or fashion, which is why he was so dangerous to the deep state elite, because he was not a puppet for them. He was loving, he was humble, he was dangerous, and he had a way of bringing people together and breaking down the divides between us. And they can't have that.
And I feel as though when it comes to this, the media, the government, the talking heads, everyone is confusing us about what actually took place with Charlie Kirk, this event, how it got set up. I even would like to know who picked the venue, okay?
Then Owens went live again. During her stream, she claimed that Charlie had begun to talk about things that made the US government and its allies very uncomfortable, and that his questions and demands posed a threat to them.
You can examine Charlie in his own words. He was starting to talk about topics that you're not really allowed to talk about when you take money and big checks are being written. And that pressure was increasing every single day. In fact, he was telling the truth even about Jeffrey Epstein. Take a listen.
Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, but there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part.
And Ghislaine was Epstein's handler, just for the record. Ghislaine did not work for Epstein. Epstein was being handled by Ghislaine. Just saying.
Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just maybe he was just a guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis.
Owens said the note hinted that someone close to him wasn't being honest. And she even showed the world screenshots of him talking about how he had Jewish donors pulling out of funding him just days before his life was taken.
So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, ugh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term. In my opinion, like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread. I'm not going to reveal the names of the other 7. Actually, you know what? I disagree with myself.
Rogan's fans noticed some.
Yeah. And TPUSA tried to claim that Charlie had divorced Candace or what have you, had separated from Candace, was not affiliating with Candace anymore. But the text messages show otherwise. Why is the Toilet Paper USA, that's what I'm calling them today, because that's about what their worth is, they're about worth the cost of toilet paper anymore, because I believe that they, without a doubt, betrayed Charlie. They're nothing but garbage. They're dung, is what they are. They are dung. Okay? But anyway, again, the Candace is coming with facts. Why is Kash Patel not taking this evidence and running with the real evidence? Why is he covering this up?
Something else. That some of Owens's claims seem to match up with Rogan's earlier comments. Both mentioned trust, both brought up inconsistencies, and both implied something about the widow didn't seem right. In fact, these recent questions by those two, and Erica's connection to Donald Trump, has actually brought a very interesting clip into the limelight where the president seems to be making fun of Charlie, talking about how the latter was unable to dodge a bullet like he did.
They seem to become very violent, the left. They've rammed vehicles into federal law enforcement, fired sniper rifles at ICE agents, and me, you know. But I made a turn at a good time. I turned to the right. Charlie couldn't believe it, actually. He said, how the hell did you make that turn? I said, I don't know.
And just as the online frenzy peaked, the Utah prosecutors released something new. A series of texts.
Well, okay. In all fairness, I don't see where President Trump was making fun of Charlie there. That's, I don't see that. Whoever this is, this narrator is that made that statement, I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with you on that one. Just saying, there was no mocking or making fun of Charlie in that statement. That is inaccurate.
Messages allegedly sent by the suspected assassin, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, to his romantic partner. That's when everything erupted again. After prosecutors in the U.S. state of Utah published alleged text exchanges between 22-year-old Tyler Robinson and his romantic partner, countless social media users, including numerous prominent influencers, cast doubt on their authenticity. Some outright claimed that the texts, in which Robinson appears to confess to Kirk, had been fabricated by authorities. Many of the posts suggested that the language and tone of the exchanges did not match someone of Robinson's age.
No. And then the freaking text didn't even make sense, man. Like, there was stuff written in the text that was like, who the crap speaks like that? You know, like come on, man. Like, seriously, he wouldn't have been talking like that. It was just a no-brainer. And the text, it was ridiculous. It was just absolutely ridiculous.
And the account of the shooting was too forthcoming and detailed to be believable.
Around some of these exchanges, there's ellipses above, if you look really closely.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're cherry picking certain exchanges. So that my dad is super MAGA just comes out of nowhere because they picked it from a totally different part of the conversation.
Yeah, these messages are clearly doctored, is what I would say. They're doctored. Now, they could decide why they're doing that. Tyler's being forthcoming. We're protecting him in some capacity. I find that to be unacceptable. Okay? Unacceptable. I want every single text message. I want timestamps. It is conspicuous that you are not telling us when this was sent, because it sounds like it's when the campus is on lockdown and he's got to go back and he's got to clean up. And then all of a sudden we're in the next day when his dad is getting clued in after the picture's been released. They're not telling us that, okay? And you have a right to be a little bit uncomfortable about that, because I'm a lot of bit uncomfortable about that. We need full answers. Further to that point, I have found this strange from the beginning that for whatever reason, we're not hearing too much about this Lance guy other than like he's been extremely cooperative. He's handed over his messages. I'm not implying that Lance was involved. I am implying that it's weird that we're not hearing more about him.
Steve Bannon, U.S. President Donald Trump's former advisor, said on his podcast that he was not buying the texts, describing them as too stilted, too much like a script.
You mentioned Charlie. Candace Owens says that the FBI is trying to sell a narrative. What do you think of these allegations?
I don't believe anything about the official narrative they're putting out there. I don't believe this kid right now could possibly be the about all the evidence I've seen, of at least all the videos I've watched, everything I've seen, that text messages, the guy's writing a Shakespeare sonnet. Are you kidding me?
And what's more is that among the apparently suspicious acts committed on the day were the removal of SD memory cards from the cameras set up by Kirk's crew, and a man who could be seen to touch his hat seconds before the fatal shot was fired.
Do you know how many mass have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting?
Not just his hat. He touched the brim of his hat, and as soon as he touched the brim of his hat, he come down and gave a little face gesture as well. I noticed that when I first saw that footage.
Gang violence. Greg, do you know how many mass there have been in America?
Kirk's longtime friend and producer Andrew Colvett revealed on last week's edition of The Charlie Kirk Show the reason the memory cards were taken from the cameras. Why? What was it that Charlie said that they had to stop from getting out in the public? Candace Owens has a theory.
No, it's not defensible to be dumb, and he was under an increasing amount of pressure, not just people telling him, oh, well, you know, I'm upset with who you're inviting, but flat out telling him that he was not allowed to invite certain people to his events. They were threatening to pull out money. Charlie was getting a lot of really nasty text messages, and many of them pertaining to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. But Tucker Carlson was really the focus when it came to America Fest. How could Charlie allow these debates about Israel to take place? How could he allow Dave Smith, who, by the way, is Jewish, how could how could Charlie allow this other position to meet the stage? Because obviously when people start to hear the debates, what Dave Smith is saying sounds so rational, but it was up to Charlie to not allow those things to happen. I would like to contextualize Bibi. Again, these are things Bibi brought up publicly which he didn't have to. He didn't have to bring up the letter. He didn't have to bring up the phone call, but he chose to do this less than 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was shot. Personally, BB, I would have appreciated if you guys used all of your spyware, you'd spying on us for years, to maybe track down the killer. But I guess this is where you thought it was best to do a little propaganda for Israel would be better than us helping us track down the killer. But anyway, so Bibi Netanyahu and that phone call, what took place was a couple of weeks ago before Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman. Because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote-unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset and threats were made. That is what I am told, and I will tell you that I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you. And he did not provide the receipts. This is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat.
She went on to talk about how Charlie was offered a lot of money to launder Israel's state narrative and how it was used against him.
And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Bibi would fund it, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding. That Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel.
Exactly, because Charlie was not a sellout. He was real. Charlie was real.
I would describe this as like, re-education camp. We've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. We just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel and we can make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Bill Ackman, if you would like to dispute that, I would love to hear what you say happened, because our sources and what we have, it's solid, okay? There were conversations that took place, messages that were sent at that time, and they are solid. So I decided, another person that was there, and I am not surprised this person was there if you've been listening to my show, Seth Dillon. I was going to go out to Seth Dillon, and I decided to message him last night about this Hamptons meeting. And Seth Dillon, who is normally very quick with a response, has not yet been able to respond. I'll show you this text message chain. And I want to be clear, I am not someone who normally publicizes text messages. But my friend was shot in the neck. And I'm just not really in the state right now to be polite when it comes to the answers that I am demanding, okay? This is me out to Seth Dillon last night. I sent him Bill Ackman's tweet because, he tweeted, I feel incredibly privileged to have spent a day and shared a meal with Charlie Kirk this summer. He was a giant of a man. I said, any comment on this one, Seth? He didn't answer last night. This morning I said, need a comment ASAP, please. He didn't answer. Then I followed that up and I said, trying again here, you were present when Ackman lost his mind on Charlie and when Bibi invited him to Israel and Charlie refused. Text messages immediately following this meeting are circulating. I find Ackman's statement, as though the meeting was somehow cordial, to be incredibly disturbing. Are you at all disturbed by that tweet? Do you feel, as I do, that this tweet significantly betrays the defined purpose and mood of his, and I presume your, final meeting with Charlie Kirk? ? He was unable to speak to me, but he did place some frantic calls to Turning Point USA. Yeah.
When you put all the puzzle pieces together, it increasingly starts to look like there is more to Charlie's death than the media is telling us. And the general public seems to be of the opinion that his wife certainly was involved to some degree. One person said on Reddit, the video she had taken of herself close up and touching Charlie's hands, saying over and over that she loved him, was sketchy. Then she posted it to her Instagram. We all grieve in our own way, but that didn't seem like grieving. Neither did her speech. When she put her hand on his office chair, the entire thing felt fake. Learning her background clinched it. Bravo has a very distinct personality type that gets on those reality TV shows. I'm allowed my opinion. Another added, these people are all grifting ghouls. No normal person erects a circus complete with a pyrotechnics show for a memorial a week after their husbands gets murdered. This person, however, speculated that she may just be a pawn in a wider game playing out after Charlie's demise. I think that is all orchestrated by Turning Point America. She is probably mostly in shock and just going along with what she is told to do. What do you think the real story is? Let us know in the comments below.
So if you can have a guy...
And that's it, guys. That's it. This is the video. Oh, man. So what do you guys think? Like, share, comment, subscribe in the comments section. Shout out to, who was it that put this video up? I'm going to say Peeper. Shout out to Peeper. Go to their channel. Like, subscribe, show them some love. I'm not familiar with their channel, to be honest with you. I haven't subscribed to them, but I'll be looking more into them. Thank you, Peeper, for putting this video out. Shout out to you. Man, God bless you guys. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Wow, reality check. Truth unveiled. Signing out. Bye-bye.